When we went up there for that first weekend, in November weekend, we went and actually toured Ground Zero, and that was really, really profound. We also then went to dinner in New Jersey, and the restaurant got wind of why we were all there, and there was probably 25, 30 of us. And I'm gonna get choked up. When we were leaving, they all stood up and made a line, all the wait staff, and applauded for us as we got back on the bus. The Comfort Zone Camp was founded in 1998, and we spent a year planning our first camp, and it was held in 1999. And we were the first 501c3 bereavement camp program in the country. And our camps are headquartered in Richmond, Virginia, and they're free of charge, they're weekend long, and originally we thought camps had to be held in Richmond, Virginia. They were very successful, we were changing lives, they were amazing. And then when we were 3 years old, 9/11 happened.
American 11, are you trying to call?
The cockpit is not answering their phone.
What's going on, Betty? The crap is erratic again. Problem, very erratic. Betty, talk to me. Betty, are you there? Betty? Betty?
So my dad was born in Italy, and that meant a lot to him. He emigrated to the US when he was around 8 years old. He loved his family, everything about it. Family was very important to him, but he also had a love for his career and his job. He was an engineer and very proud of it, and he was funny, and we used to have a lot of fun together, lots of family time. I was very close to my dad. I spent a lot of time with him. I used to go to work with him a lot. Instead of going to school, I used to play hooky. It was kind of fun. I used to enjoy the hustle and bustle of going into the city with him and just be mesmerized that this is where he worked, that this was his routine every day. My dad went to work one day and he never came home. My dad was killed in the World Trade Center attacks on September 11th, 2001. And I felt like the walls were closing in. I felt the what ifs, what is my life gonna look like looking ahead, and just kind of worried about, will I ever be happy again as a young child?
I mean, we knew we had a proven program, and we knew there were no resources up there at the time for grieving kids, and we wanted to make a difference.
Approximately 3,300 children lost a mother or father in the terror strike. Thanks to a special camp created just for them, these kids don't have to feel quite so alone.
At first glance, this looks like any other camp. But this camp in northern New Jersey is different too. It's a place where children who lost a family member in the September 11th attacks come to grieve. Lynn Hughes is the founder of Comfort Zone Camp.
Not only do they meet other kids, but they get people who physically lean in and say, tell me about what still hurts. And they might not get that anywhere else.
Okay, my name is Tyler, and I'm from Tenafly, New Jersey.
It was so hard because our whole nation was grieving. Anytime there were references made to 9/11, that all heads would turn, and they felt like they were grieving in a fishbowl. And so those things went on a lot longer, so it was harder to get to the point of, okay, this is where I am, this is what's happened to me, and now how do you move forward and begin healing?
3! I did it!
One of the biggest things that I do remember is that I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave that place. I wanted to stay. Being in a group of kids that were just like me, being able to share our feelings and have support from that community of people. And I remember getting home and telling my mom, when can I go again? When's gonna be the next one? Because I finally felt a little bit normal, even though it really wasn't normal, right? I was only there because my dad had passed away. That's not a normal experience that people have every day, but it felt good to be in a place where I was able to be supported by people that I needed to be, but I also got the permission to feel how I wanted to feel. I didn't feel like I had to be upset, or that people were watching me, waiting for my next move of like, oh, is she gonna cry? Oh, is she gonna be sad this day? Is she coming to school? So that was the best part about it. It gave me the permission to really feel my emotions, and that it's okay to have different emotions. I didn't have to feel one way all the time.
For about 4 years, we did camps for the 9/11 kids only, and they became a really tight community. They really were the drivers of saying that they didn't want to be defined as just kids who lost their dad on September 11th, that they wanted to know where did their loss fit in the overall grief picture, and what was similar and what was different from their loss or other kids' losses. The compassion, you saw these kids who lost their loved ones on September 11th saying, wow, they're at the beginning of their grief journey. All of a sudden they realized that they had made progress and that they, were in the process of healing, and that they were at a point where they could even help nurture somebody else whose loss was fresh yet completely different. They weren't victims.
As I started going to camp year after year, I loved it. I wanted to keep it a part of my life. I loved what it was doing for me, for my own grief, but I knew that I wanted to be able to translate that one day, and I felt that this is what I was meant to do. I felt I was meant to help kids like me.
There was a million reasons why Comfort Zone Camp in Richmond, Virginia shouldn't have done anything other than grieve and mourn locally and feel badly. When you hear about a tragedy in the news, of course we're all like, oh, that's so horrible, and then you think, what can I do? And it's easy to stop there, but we didn't stop there, and we mobilized, and we felt so compelled to respond, and we found a way to connect with those families, and in a profound way. 9/11 just changed the landscape, and out of that then became, we were able to we're not just in New Jersey, we're in multiple states around the country. And I don't think if that event hadn't happened, that we wouldn't have touched nearly as many children.
Now, what Comfort Zone does, it's a constant reminder that something good comes from something bad. That's really what I take away from it. Because of my dad passing away, I got Comfort Zone. Maybe I would have never realized that this is what I wanted to do for a career. Being a volunteer for Comfort Zone was always an amazing feeling, being able to give back to something that changed my life. But being able to be a staff person, to keep growing the community, and to just spread the awareness and spread the magic of camp, I'm just grateful that I was able to be a part of this place and carry it with me for 20 years to really make me the person I am today.
I remember after the first weekend camp, we were about to get on the bus and drive back to Richmond, and one of the volunteers paused and said, hey, we all have to take a picture. We all need to remember we're making history here, that this is really profound what we're doing. And one of the moms sought me out and said, she gave me a big hug, and she said, I was nervous about sending my child here, and she's like, I just saw him smile for the first time since his dad died. Thank you. And to say you put a smile on a child's face who experienced our nation's worst tragedy, it doesn't get any better than that.
Looking back on it now, I didn't think I would ever get out of it. I didn't think I would ever move from it. I thought it was always going to be this never-ending doom cloud kind of following me for the rest of life. Losing my dad is a part of me, but I don't let it truly define who I am in my everyday life. If I didn't have that support system and being able to work on myself and have that navigate me through life, I really don't think that I would have this outlook that I do now. Because it's like, I can't let something like that hold me back from the rest of my life. I miss my dad every day. Obviously, I wish he could be here, but I wouldn't change it.